working. Well, so YouTube. Can't be doing that, Isaiah. Isaiah, stop, bud.
Sound like Grayson for a minute.
I don't know who's doing it, but whoever's doing it needs to stop. So, hi everybody. Welcome back to Close Up with Jesus. Today I'm joined by Gunnar.
Hello.
It feels like me and Kellner are just alternating out now, and you're the constant dude.
I am.
But today we got a lesson on. It's not what I wanted to do. There we go.
I don't think you meant.
Jesus was not nice. Don't go away. Don't go away. It's a little. Saying that will drive some people off. But we're going to delve into the idea that Jesus was not nice. He was good. And we're going to explain what that means, really. Today. My microphone is way too low. Jeezums.
Mine's a little far out, but I
There we go.
think they can still hear me.
And if y'all can't hear us, let us know. So that way, why is live chat disabled? That's weird. But let us know so that way we can, see. I'm going to pull up on my phone here so that we can see your Facebook Live messages because I read them afterwards with whoever's here with me most of the time, and it's really nice to see people watching. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So, there we go. We're going to start in Mark 11. Yeah. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. Mark 11, verse 15. Now, we have some overlapping verses today because a lot of the Gospels describe the events, but from different perspectives. Starting on verse 15. On reaching Jerusalem, Jesus entered the temple courts and began driving out those who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves, and would not allow anyone to carry merchandise through the temple courts. And as he taught them, he said, Is it not written, my house will be called a house of prayer for all nations, but you have made it a den of robbers. The chief priests and teachers of the law heard this and began looking for ways to kill him, for they feared him, because the whole crowd was amazed at his teachings. So, right there, we see Jesus. It doesn't say Jesus convinced them. It says he drove them out. That's not very kind. That's me like going, hey, go. You can't be here. Go. Like shoving, like shoving somebody, getting them out. That's not nice. It's good because, they made it a den of thieves. They were selling the lambs and the doves that were used during the Old Covenant, I don't want to say rituals, but I guess rituals.
I mean, rituals kind of like witchcraft, but
it's not.
Though.
There's a word for it, but I can't think of it. Brother Ray uses it, and I like it a lot better than rituals, but I can't think of it right now. For lack of a better word, we'll use rituals for the Old Covenant and all of the sacrifices they had to do. I know one of the things they had to do was the scapegoat. They would put all the sins on a goat, and they would send it into the wilderness, and no one was allowed to touch the goat. If you touch the goat,
You're dead.
It was bad. But all the sin of Israel would be put on that goat, and the goat would be gone.
Don't you think if Jesus would have asked and tried to persuade them out, that they would just leave?
Probably. But again, he's not kind. He's good. Okay. And some of them might have. Some of them might not have. We know he talked to the Pharisees a multitude of times. We're going to talk about them later. He talked to them a multitude of times, and they still had their hearts hardened against God and still didn't listen to him, and even went so far as to spearhead putting him on a cross. It was very. They were not. They definitely were not good.
They were not nice at all. Neither.
Or nice. Next, we're going to go to Matthew chapter 15. We're going to have a lot of verses in Matthew, so you might want to stick around there. They're pretty close. So it's like back-to-back almost.
There's a bunch of stories.
So this, if y'all remember, if y'all have been watching on Facebook for a while, or, I think it's on YouTube now, Brother Ray did a entire lesson about this, about the Canaanite woman and her calling herself a dog, and God calling her, well, not God, but Jesus, which is God, but Trinity. Can trip you up a little bit sometimes. Jesus agreeing and calling her a dog, which that's not very nice.
No.
We know that. It's like, yeah, it's like you go in there, I'm a dog. I'm a dog to me going, yes, you are a dog.
Indeed.
Indeed, you are a dog. But that's not what he's saying here, and Brother Ace did an entire sermon about that. I suggest you go listen to it. We're not going to delve into it here because that'd be an entire lesson in its own right, and Brother A did a fantastic job doing it. So go find him. It's one of the sermons he's done. It's really good. If I can find it, I'll link it. If I can't,
Find it yourself.
if I can't find it, good luck. There's a lot. Let's see. I thought I had it on the right. There we are. So in verse 23, just before that, in the previous verse, they're saying, "Hey, guys," or who's saying it? We'll start from 21. Leaving that place, Jesus withdrew to the region of Tyre and Sidon. A Canaanite woman from that vicinity came out to him, crying out, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is demon-possessed and suffering terribly." Jesus did not answer a word, so his disciples came to him and urged him, "Send her away, for she keeps crying out after us." He answered, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel." The woman came and knelt before him. "Lord, help me," she said. So she's crying out for help. He replied, "It is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs." Ah! He's called her a dog. That's not very cool.
It's not cool.
It's not very nice, as we've pointed out. But if we noticed, if you're paying attention, if you can read the rest of it in your own time, but the whole purpose of him calling her a dog is so that way the rest of the lesson, and Brother Ed goes into depth about this, it's awesome, is the rest of the lesson can take place. If he didn't call her a dog, the lesson he was trying to teach wouldn't work. It wouldn't have meshed together the way it needed to for it to play out. My phone's going ballistic over here. There we go. And now we're going to go to Matthew verse 16. So we know Jesus isn't nice to the everyday people who go to the temple and who are, committing sins, selling stuff in the middle of the temple, disgracing his Father's house. So we know that. That makes sense. 15, we see he calls a woman a dog. That's not very nice. It makes less sense.
Like, if you love, you know how he loves everyone, why are you going to, call him a dog and stuff,
Mm-hmm. And then we have, now we're going to get to those, a ring closer. We're going to get to the people close to him, which is in Matthew chapter 16, verse 21. From that time on, Jesus began to explain to his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things at the hands of the elders, the chief priests, and the teachers of the law, and that he must be killed and on the third day be raised to life. Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. "Never, Lord," he said, "this shall never happen to you." So Peter is not going, "No, Lord, don't let that happen." He's rebuking the Lord, saying, "No, that will not happen. I will make sure it will not happen. No." And look what Jesus says. Jesus turned and said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me. You do not have in mind the corners of God, but merely human concerns." Ouch. So imagine I tell you, Gunnar, I'm going to die if I go to this city, and you go, "No, you cannot do that. No, I will not let you go to that city." And then I go, "Get behind me, Satan." That
criticism back then.
I don't know. I know Jesus probably didn't say it like that. No, I didn't say it like that.
He probably said it in a more harsher.
He's probably said it better. But that still is like, ouch. That stings. It's not nice. But it's important because he's going, "No, this has to happen." It's very important that this happens. He loves Peter. We know he loves Peter because Peter's one of his disciples, and he loves all his disciples. We know that. But he was like, no. He was very harsh with him. And that shows Jesus isn't nice. He is good, and he is just, and he is merciful, and he is kind, but he is not nice. Kindness is if you fall, right? If Gunnar, if you fall, I help you get back up again.
Yeah.
Me being nice is you hit me. I'm going, it's okay. It's fine. And then just keep going with it. And you can keep going at me again and again and again. That is not good.
Turning the other cheek.
Yes, turning the other cheek is good.
Yes.
He said we should turn the other cheek.
It's not nice.
However,
but it's
you
good.
see in the Bible that there is a point when you no longer turn the other cheek. And we can
Yeah.
get into that a different time. They probably didn't hear a word I just said because I was looking dead at you.
Bro.
Whoops.
I was like way back here.
I was back here looking this way. They probably didn't hear a word of that. I was saying the difference between, we were explaining the nice and good thing. If he hits me and I go, it's okay, it's fine, that's nice. That's being nice. And it can sometimes be merciful. Excuse me. But if it's repeated, the Bible has ways for you to deal with that, but you just constantly turning the other cheek is not good. It's not good. And that makes it no longer godly.
It turns it into.
It's just not. It
Yeah,
doesn't. It's not bring. It's not profitable for us or for the Father in heaven, our Father in heaven. Someone put this really good, and it's kind of spurred this entire lesson. However janky this lesson may be, but I really wanted to put this out there. The lesson, the guy I listened to, and I listened to. The reason I came up with this lesson. Let's start off at the beginning. I came up with this lesson during school when I was taking a break from welding. I weld, by the way. And during my break, waiting for my metal to cool, I just went on Instagram. Yes, I have Instagram. And I went to look on Reels, and most of my Reels are Bible related. And I'm scrolling, I'm listening, and over again, I keep hearing this: Jesus was not nice. Jesus was not nice. Jesus was not nice. And I'm like, okay, I get it. That's what I'm doing tomorrow. Okay. But he put it like this. He said, Jesus is not nice. He is good. He cares about your heart and your relationship with the Father.
Yep.
Jesus was not a hippie.
He don't care about.
He is a warrior.
Yeah, he don't care about your feelings.
He don't care about your
emotionally.
feelings. Yeah. He doesn't care about your feelings. He said, I quote, he doesn't give one rip about your feelings. That's what the guy said on the video.
Yeah, that's nice.
I showed Gunnar last night. And he doesn't care about your feelings. You can think and feel a certain way. Like, this feels good, so it must be right. Because it just feels good. That doesn't make it right. A lot of our feelings aren't right. Because a lot of our feelings come from our flesh, and our flesh is very sinful.
One of the main ones is temptation.
Mm-hmm. That's what that's what a lot of things stem from, is from temptation.
Yeah.
Like, you're tempted and now you feel a certain way and you're like, this it feels good, so it must be right. I take a sip of beer, I get a nice buzz, I feel good, so therefore it must be right, right? That's the thought process. It's not a good thought process. Don't have that thought process,
No.
because it's not good.
I've seen it.
But
firsthand.
Jesus isn't nice. He's not. If you are feeling awful, and you're feeling this hole in your heart, and you're still doing sinful things, Jesus is going to point that out, and it's gonna suck, and it's gonna hurt sometimes. But he's doing it for your good. Do you see you getting the picture yet? He's not nice. He is good. He's doing all of this for your good, so that you can repair the relationship with the Father in heaven, so you can be with him for eternity. That's the whole goal. That's Jesus' goal. And he knows that from birth, because from birth we see him get ready to die. He's wrapped up like a lamb. He's in a manger. He's wrapped in death clothes, which are death clothes are what the Jews wrapped themselves with before they died, or had with them when they died. So that way, no matter what, you'd always have those. And even robbers would leave them with the, what do you call someone who's been robbed? I don't.
A victim.
Victim. Thank you.
Yes.
Victim. That's the word I was looking for. I was like, I'm blanking here. They even leave the death clothes with the victim, so that way when they die, they could be buried with them, because that's what they were used for. But Jesus was wrapped with those. So that's when the shepherds saw him. They went, "Oh, that's him. That's the one we were told to go see by the angels." That was the whole point of everything from birth. He knows he's going to die, and his whole goal is to do good and to repair that relationship with humanity, with God, to repair that relationship humanity and God had at one point in time, and to get your heart attitude fixed, because our heart attitude from birth is wrong.
Even if it hurts your emotional
Even
feelings, still.
It's and sometimes it is gonna hurt and it's gonna suck. Like, I don't know if people watch and if you've been to a revival or to church, but when the altar call starts and people can go down and pray, and you feel God's presence, you don't see people laughing and smiling. You see people down there crying. They're just pouring their heart out to Jesus.
But it's not like a sad cry.
It's not a sad
It's
cry.
like a happy
But
comfort cry.
it's a comfort cry. It's you are giving this over to Jesus, and sometimes it hurts when you do that, and it's a struggle. I've seen a man in the back left corner of the church here at Falling Water who stood there, and he was gripping. He tells a story sometimes of a different guy, but he was gripping the front of his pew, and he was holding on. His knuckles were white because he wanted to go to the altar, but he didn't want to go, so he's struggling. And finally, he broke down and he went to the altar. It was a struggle for him because it was very hard, because his emotions and feelings were telling him one thing, and God was telling him something else and saying, "Hey, this is the right way to go." We're kind of getting off track here, but but it's important. Next, I believe it's your verse, Gunnar.
I think it is Matthew 21:13 through 14, 15.
Here we go.
Something like that. Let me find it.
21:12. Start at 12, and then go till you want to stop.
Jesus entered the temple courts and drove out all who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves. It is written, he said to them, "My house will be called a house of prayer, but that you are making it a den of robbers." The blind and the lame came to him at the temple, and he healed them. But when the chief priests and the teachers of the law saw the wonderful things he had done, the children shouting in the temple courts, "Hosanna to the Son of David," they were I don't know how to say that.
Indignant.
Yeah, indignant. It's crazy. It's like another relook of Mark 11 that we read. Another point of view.
Yeah, that's Matthew's point of view of this whole thing. So we got Mark's point of view and Matthew's point of view, and again, it's the same thing. We see Jesus overturning the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves. He is getting those people out there. He's driving them away, as Mark puts it. And again, he says, "You are making it a den of robbers," insulting them, saying, "Hey, you're no better than robbers here. Get out of the temple. You're not supposed to be here if you're going to be acting like this." And that is why when you are in a church, and especially in the sanctuary, you have to conduct yourself a certain way. Like in the sanctuary, you don't run.
You don't
We
wear
get on the
hats.
kids all the time. You cannot run in the sanctuary because if you're running, it's a sign of disrespect. Don't wear hats in the church. Again, sign of disrespect. Them selling those things there was a form of major disrespect because they were turning what was supposed to be a covenant between humanity, specifically the Jews, and God, to alleviate them of their sins, had become a way for them to generate money, to turn this into a profitable thing for them, which is just awful. It's like, all right, we're taking care of your sins so that way we can go to paradise and not to hell, so we need you to bring X and Y. All right, cool. And some guy comes over and goes, "Hey, I will sell you that for this exorbitant fee because your animal died on the way here." It's awful. It was really bad. But that was another point of view. And now we get to the last one.
Uh-oh.
Matthew 23. And this one's long. We're going to be reading quite a bit. It's longer, but it's really important to read it all because we will see how Jesus is not nice and how he repeatedly calls out the Pharisees. He ain't no sissy. He was a blacksmith. Like, Jesus was swole.
I just glimpsed at it and I already see an insult in there.
Verse 13. "Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites. Ouch. You shut the door of the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. You yourselves do not enter, nor will you let those enter who are trying to. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites. Again, he's insulting them twice. Same insult. Or rather, not insult, but calling out. He's saying, hey, y'all aren't practicing what you're teaching. Come on. You travel over land and sea to win a single convert, and when you have succeeded, you make them twice as much a child of hell as you are. Ouch. Calling them children of hell. Woe to you, blind guides. If anyone swears by the temple, it means nothing, but anyone who swears by the gold of the temple is bound by that oath. You blind fools. Remember, fools in the Bible are people who say in their heart, there is no God. That's what a fool is. So he's saying, hey, you believe there is no God. That is what you believe in your heart. Maybe I could be incorrect on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is there. Where did it go? There it is. Which is greater, the gold or the temple that makes the gold sacred? You say also, if anyone swears by the altar, it means nothing, but anyone who swears by the gift on the altar is bound by that oath. You blind men, which is greater, the gift or the altar that makes the gift sacred? Therefore, anyone who swears by the altar swears by it and by everything on it. And anyone who swears by the temple swears by it and by the one who dwells in it. So Jesus right there, because the Pharisees were very religious. That's what they were. Brother, he talks about this all the time. They were very religious. God. He likes to say that whenever he's doing the interpretations of the Pharisees. But they wore extravagant clothing. They were rich. They had the finest meals. He's going to talk about that in a second. Jesus will. But they were very rich, and Jesus is pointing out here, your greed is awful because the things of God you don't care about anymore, and you care about the gifts and the money they bring because that's more sacred to you than the altar of God. It's more sacred to you than you being in the presence of him. And we see that's what he's calling them out on there. First, he called them out on not practicing what they're teaching and leading people to hell. Second was their greed and their sin. And then next, I'm on 22. Is it 21? I'm on 22. And anyone who swears by heaven swears by God's throne and by the one who sits on it. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites. Again, he's calling them hypocrites because that's what they are. You give a tenth of your spices, mint, dill, and cumin. I don't know how to pronounce
summon.
that.
I'm pretty sure it's like summon.
I don't know. But you have neglected the more important matters of the law, justice, mercy, and faithfulness. These are all things that Jesus is. Those are his aspects. He is good, justice. He's just. I don't know why I said justice. He's good, just, merciful, and faithful. That is what Jesus is. You should have practiced the latter without neglecting the former. So he says, you're doing this, which is good, but you are completely neglecting a core aspect of this covenant, which is to be just, merciful, and faithful. You lack those. You need to fix that. You blind guides, you strain out a gnat, but swallow a camel. I didn't catch that earlier. That's... Ugh. So you get rid of the gnat, but you're going to swallow a camel. Meaning you're getting rid of the small problem, but you're not fixing the major problem that you know is there. And you're going to consume it instead. You're going to imbibe it. Make it a part of you. Verse 25, woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. Blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and dish, and then the outside also will be clean. So there he's pointing out they are very proud of themselves. They're very prideful. They're wearing very nice clothing. It's wearing gold, jewelry. I think in Passion of the Christ you'll see that. You see all the Pharisees, they're dressed, they have gold chains on their necks. Their hats are adorned with colorful cloths. They have staves made of silver and gold. And right there he's saying, hey, you make your outsides look well and look good, but your insides are nasty. It's full of sin and garbage. And then here we'll see in verse 27. You scroll down a little bit better. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside are full of the bones of the dead and everything unclean. Again, So if they didn't get it the first time, they're getting it now.
Yeah.
And again, he is saying it to their face. He is boom, boom, boom. They're not getting a word in edgewise. He is going at it at them. And they're probably stunned because they've never dealt with that before. They're Pharisees. They're the religious teachers. They are the dudes, teachers.
They don't know how to react to them getting called out.
They're like, whoa, I don't like this. And we see here, none of this is nice. Do you see this? None of that is nice. We're going to keep going, but none of that's nice.
They're all insults.
They are. He's pointing out things that they don't like, obviously, and it's bad, and it's insulting to them, and it's not nice, but it's good because it's going to help them fix themselves. I keep turning this way. I need to stop doing that because you guys can't hear me properly. I said it is good. It's not nice, but it's good because it's helping. It's pointing out their flaws so they can fix it with God's help. And that we often neglect that. We think, I can do this on my own through my own willpower. I can do this.
But some things you can't go through it without God.
A lot of stuff we can't. A lot of sin, especially sin, we think we can do it on our own, and we'll go for years and years trying to fix it and try to do it through our own willpower, and eventually we have to realize, oh, we can't. I can't do this. God, do it. I can't. I need you. And that's what eventually happens, hopefully, is eventually we realize that and we go, God, I can't do this through my own willpower. Only through your power can I do that. And we're going to keep going now because the worst is yet to come for these guys.
I know, I see it down there.
In the same way, on the outside, you appear to people as righteous, but on the inside, you are full of hypocrisy and wickedness. Jesus has beat me to the punch. Woe to you, teacher. Well, whatever. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You build tombs for the prophets and decorate the graves of the righteous, and you say, if we had lived in the days of our ancestors, we would not have taken part with them in shedding the blood of the prophets. So you testify against yourselves that you are the descendants of those who murdered the prophets. That sucks for you. Go ahead then and complete what your ancestors started. So this is interesting foreshadowing because we know that they spearhead getting Jesus nailed to the cross. So he's saying, your ancestors did this. You take pride in that, saying you never do this. So go ahead, prove it.
Never say never.
Go ahead and prove it. And guess what they did? They didn't just kill a prophet. They killed the Son of God. So that's I bet when they went to the afterlife, they were like, we screwed up so bad. They obviously are probably screaming because they're in hell. Not good for them. But let me see the biggest insult. Verse 33, you snakes, you brood of vipers, how will you escape being condemned to hell? That is terrifying thought because the Jews know what hell is. The Pharisees definitely know what hell is. They know it exists. And them going, oh, we're condemned to, they're being told they are being told they are condemned to hell. Sorry I started so bad, guys. I don't know
It's
what's
like
wrong
they have
with
their own little special spot with a little sign up there.
Here you go. You are condemned to hell. How will you escape? I'm just speed reading to see if there's anything else. There's not. Okay. So there's that. Jesus is not nice. He is good. I keep saying that over and over again, but I kind of want it because a lot of people don't think that, and we think Jesus is love, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people think that. I saw some earlier today, again, of Jesus is not nice, and I just, it blew me away.
Oh my gosh, bro added it to his collections.
I did, and I'm not gonna deny it.
Oh, it's not Mr. Beast.
That's not Mr. Beast.
Oh.
You are beamed.
No, the guy we've seen it on kind of looked like Brother Ethan.
It did. It looked like Brother Ethan, but like in 20 to 25 years. They had like a big beard. He was tall, and I was like, whoa. They were like, it's Ethan. And I'm like, what? Because I was excited just to show him the video. And they were like, yeah, it's Ethan, look. And I'm like, what? It was crazy. I can't find it. I'll find it later.
We'll link
Well,
it.
not later. I'll link
Maybe.
it if I find it. But it was Jesus is not nice. He is good. And then the comeback was, well, Jesus is love. Why would he throw me in hell if he loves me? Because he is love. That's right. Jesus is love. He's not nice. He is love. Love is just, right? Love is kind. Love is caring. But love doesn't have to be nice.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. I can love Gunnar to bits, but if he does something wrong, I can
You can pop me for it.
I can pop you for it, but I can also just like shame you for it. You do something that's extremely wrong. You are let's say you're grown at this point, right? We are both 25. Somehow I didn't age, and we're both 25. And I see you do something wrong. I can't pop you, but I sure can shame you. I'll still love you to bits. I'll still love you amazingly, more than you can imagine. But I can still call you out for it, just like Jesus is doing. He loves the Pharisees. We don't realize this. He loves those guys. The people who are going to nail him to the cross, he loves. And he still goes, hey, y'all are snakes. You vipers. You're going to hell.
Yeah, 5%.
You vipers. I don't know why I did that accent. But he still loves them. Even though he's calling them out, he calls you out because he loves you. When you feel the Holy Spirit tugging on your heart, telling you things, going, hey, you know this isn't right. Stop. This is wrong. You shouldn't be doing this. Turn away. Go away. Go talk to God. And you feel it's tugging at you. It's because he loves you. It's why that shame is there. That's why when you commit a sin afterwards, you feel so guilty and ashamed if you're saved. You're like, why did I do that? Why? Why did that? Because that short-term gratification is short. It only lasts that long, if that long. It might even last just
And then the guilt part
that long.
lasts
You don't
like
even see it on
twice
there.
as long. The guilt part will last like twice as long.
It'll last longer. Especially if it's a recurring sin, because you'll beat yourself up about it, and then Satan will come over and go like, well, you already feel bad about it.
He'll start patting you on the back
You
like,
feel
it's okay, just
shame,
keep
but it's
doing it.
okay. Just keep doing it. You'll feel better. Trust me. That feeling you felt earlier, you'll get it again, but it'll be longer this time.
But it won't be longer.
And eventually, you won't feel any shame. It'll be fine. And it's true, you won't feel any shame after a while, because you'll have blocked the Holy Spirit out so much. You'll harden your heart against God so much that He can't speak to you, and it's going to take some big act from Him to get you back to where you should be. I know for me, back in high school for me, in the end of 10th grade, there was a girl named Kinsey, and she was a senior, and I was doing technical theater for a play, which is doing the lights and the sounds and making sure they have the mics and all that good jazz, the costumes. And God was telling me the whole week before the play to talk to her about Him over and over and over again. And I kept telling him, no, I'm busy right now. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. And the devil was telling me, yeah, that's fine. You have time. You have plenty of time. You can do it later. And I kept doing that over and over and over and over again. And I was feeling kind of guilty about it. And I was like, okay, I need to do it soon. And so at last night of the play happens for 3 nights, I think. And the last night we're done. We're in the car. My friend Lyric is driving me home. She's in the car with us. And I'm like, oh, perfect timing. And I could do it. But I was just so tired. I didn't realize we were in NIV. Sorry. Normally we're in KJV. We don't know why it's in NIV. It shouldn't be in NIV. But all the verses we read should be in KJV. I don't know why they're not. But
bro's ADHD kicked in.
It kicked in really hard. Sorry. But we're all in the car, and we're driving around, and I had the perfect opportunity to just talk about it. And then I didn't, because I was like, I'll talk to her tomorrow. I'm really tired. Don't want to do it right now, God. I'll do it later. There was no later. She had died. Under circumstances I don't want to get into, but she had died. And when I realized that, I didn't see her the first day at school. I'm like, where's Kinsey? Because I was going to talk to her. And she wasn't there, and she wasn't there the next day, or the next day, and then I found out she had died. And the guilt from that came crashing down like a waterfall. And that was what it took for me to really get serious with God, because before then I wasn't serious enough. I had a healthy relationship with God, but I wasn't serious. I needed to get serious, and this was God's way of going, this is serious. You had the opportunity, and you didn't take it. You didn't listen, and this is what happened. This is why I wanted you to do that. And I kind of struggled with that grief for a year until I went to youth camp, and then I was able to kind of
Express it, block it out.
I was able to give it to God and be like, all right, because I figured out that she was saved later, but it was still like gut wrenching, and the guilt was
Do you still feel the guilt to this
immeasurable.
day? No.
Not anymore. I gave it to God. It's God's now, and God made it to where she was saved, so that way my guilt was lessened, and I gave it to Him, and I've turned that from a sense of guilt and shame, and God turned that into a teaching moment for me, so that way I can get serious and really start showing Him through me, and do good and do what He tells me to do, because that's something people struggle with, and because what God wants you to do will get you outside your comfort zone. I know we're going over time. We'll stop if 4 minutes pass, but I want to say this thought. I want to finish this trail of thought. What God calls you to do and tells you to do, it's going to push you outside your comfort zone. It will make you uncomfortable. It's going to. There's no doubt about it. It will make you uncomfortable. But that's part of the process. That's part of the reasoning for that is because it has to be uncomfortable, right? Because if I'm going to talk to you about your internal soul, that's going into some deep territory, and that just makes us as humans, we're just naturally uncomfortable with that.
It took me a while to start talking to Sarah about it because, I was like, I like her and stuff, but, like, I don't want to ruin that,
Mm-hmm. You didn't want to ruin
But then
that relationship.
But then God finally was like, okay, you're going to do it now.
You got to do it. Come on.
So I did it.
It's that's part of the reason it's uncomfortable, is because you don't want to ruin that friendship or relationship you have with that other person or people. Like I know I think it was Elvis. God gave him that wonderful voice. I love Elvis, but when asked why he didn't sing gospel songs, he pointed out to his car, and he said that's why, because he's talking to a pastor, because you drive that beat up car over there, but I got this new. I don't know what it was, probably Cadillac. Let's say Cadillac. I don't know why. Let's say Ferrari, Cadillac, whatever. I don't know. But the really nice car. And he didn't want to lose his reputation and the money he got. He couldn't get uncomfortable for God. So we have to be willing to be uncomfortable for Him. This lesson kind of went into like 3 different directions, but it all kind of stems back to God. Everything
seems big old triangle.
Big old triangle. Trinity.
3 points. Hey.
Next week, I think we're going to talk about. What was it? I had 2 ideas floating around in my head earlier today. I'm sorry, I'm ADHD. I'm sorry.
God will put them back in your head.
Mm-hmm. God will put them back in my head when it needs to be. That's right. Proof of His existence. That's what it was. Proof of His existence.
Demons.
From the beginning of time, and also on either that or on the nature of what rebuke means. Like when Jesus rebukes something, what that means.
I like the proof of existence one better, to be honest. It's like a deep, good topic.
Mm-hmm. All right, we will see you guys next week. This was Close Up with Jesus. We hope you all have just a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you tomorrow at 7 for Wednesday night service.
Yep.